Okay, everyone. So, welcome to today's workshop. We got Paul Davies in the house, all the way from New York, and Paul's a good friend of mine. Paul is also a copywriter that's done a lot of the copy for us. He's built out, he's written out the content and the copy for the Reaching Excellence website, and also did some work on the Reaching Excellence, the Code Reaching Excellence report as well. So, we've got Paul to come in and give you guys some tips and tricks on how to put copy together for your kind of websites and your I guess your advertising, your marketing.
So there's really 10 simple but very vital points on developing copy for a website, a brochure, whatever you're using to sell your product, that sometimes they can be overlooked, but they're absolutely essential in order to persuade someone to either lean into what you're doing, or get customers, and ultimately have repeat customers or repeat clients to help you develop your business later on. So these 10 points are really divided into two major categories. So the first part is you want to grab their attention. It doesn't necessarily matter how smart you are and how learned you are in whatever field you're trying to do. It doesn't matter like how many different, big dictionary words you throw in there, or like 10-step guides or 20-step guides or 5-step guides. If you can't grab their attention in the first place, whatever else follows, whatever else advice and expertise that follows is essentially useless. The most important thing of which is to know your own value as an entrepreneur, a content creator, or business owner, what have you. So as we talk about in the Code of Reaching Excellence, one of the big things is imposter syndrome to overcome. I'm not good enough to be an entrepreneur. I'm not good enough to ask someone for help for writing copy. I'm not good enough to have this business or what have you. You need to make sure that you get that information out of your head, and you always want to go forward with a more positive mindset. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about, but you also need to make sure that you can convince your potential clients that you also know what you're talking about and that you're worthy of their time, their attention, and ultimately their repeat revenue. You also want to know your audience. Very, very keen. Like, you're not going to be preaching out like this very high caliber language and ultimately selling a product to a bunch of 14-year-olds who are on TikTok all the time. You also don't want to put out, a bunch of like these young slang terms, put up a bunch of TikTok videos when you're trying to convince a crowd of like Oxford professors or Harvard professors about this new scientific theory that you're going to find. Otherwise, there's going to be this like massive disconnect, and you're either going to appear unprofessional, you're going to appear out of touch, or just worst case, people are going to ignore you, and whatever else that comes out of your mouth, they'll tune in, fall asleep, or just, they'll just leave or exit or not even pay attention to what you're doing. So you want to make sure you know your audience. So the big thing when we put ourselves out there in any kind of space where we're selling products or selling a service is we want to identify a niche within the marketplace that we want to not necessarily exploit's the wrong word, but you want to highlight in order to sell your product or sell your service, which is ultimately going to be a problem. So if you're a real estate developer or a property seller, the problem your personal problem would be finding properties to acquire, to sell to tenants, sell to people so they can live in them, so you can generate income from rent and what have you. So you ultimately want to identify this problem. You want to make sure that you yourself know exactly how to counter this problem or solve this problem, and portray to your audience or connect with your audience or potential clientele that, hey, this is a problem that's out there. This is a very real problem. It's a problem or a difficulty or a task that a lot of people want to confront. So not only are you identifying a certain niche within the market, you want to, through your research, through your prior experience, through your know-how in the past, you want to convey to your audience that you have a solution to whatever problem it is that you're trying to identify, which is, of course, backed up with your experience, your know-how, your past failures, so you know what not to do. I watch a lot of like self-development in terms of like self-improvement, psychology, etc., in like the YouTube world. And a lot of the headlines that capture my attention would follow like a similar format like this. You would have blah, 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 problem plus blah, 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 something else. Try this. So let's say, for example, you want to learn how to talk to girls, try this. You want to learn how to like get your first property, try this. Stuck on trying to get a letting agent, do this. So you have your attention. You have people that are going into your blog, your website, your community, what have you. You have potential customers. Now, the key thing is, like we were saying earlier, you don't want to piss them off. You don't want to give them a reason to leave you already. It's like when you're flirting with someone, you're talking with someone, the vibe's really good. You don't want to actively give someone a way out of whatever's attracted them to your business or to your website or to your blog in the first place. So it's very, very critical that you keep things concise and simple, like we were talking about before. So you follow the KISS principle. I'm not talking about, Gene Simmons and like all the face paint and what have you. I'm talking about keep it super simple, like we were talking about before. You want to keep your core concepts about what you're talking about very simple at first. So we're talking about outlining like core principles on whatever business you're talking about. So real estate, okay, this is what you would do to get a letting agent. This is what you would do to put your first down payment on your first property. These are like the very basic outlines or bullet point steps of what you want to do. Or if you're even just trying to sell yourself, you'll say, in this course, I'll teach you how to do that. In this course, I'll teach you what to do for this. In this course, I'll teach you what not to do for that. You keep them very simple. You don't run on forever and ever and ever with these different paragraphs or these links and what have you. You don't promise people, scroll down to the very end of this video and I promise you, I swear to God, keep it super simple. Be upfront. Don't be a sleazebag. Just make sure whatever it is you're trying to sell, make sure it's right there up front. No strings attached. It's important to demonstrate your value. It's important to have it's important to have like certifications and whatnot, but rather, like I was saying, instead of having all these letters after your name, have links to some of the properties that you have links to some of your past work that you've done that people can read up on, have some testimonials from prior clients or ongoing clients or friends or mentors or what have you that demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. If it's applicable to what you want, have a CV or resume. It's depending upon what you're doing, it's a good idea to have, but you don't necessarily want your CV, your credentials, your academics at the forefront of what you're doing. Again, you're selling a product or service. You want that to be the nexus. You want that to be the crux of whatever it is you're trying to convey to your audience. Also, like we were saying before, don't ramble on. Have bullet points out there. Promise what you're going to be doing. You want to show them the rainbow to the pot of gold. You don't want to give away the pot of gold yet. You don't want to give away the tricks of the trade. You just want to demonstrate you know what you're talking about and not too much more. Don't make up your audience's mind for them. They've already come to you. They've already clicked on your link or your blog, your website, or what have you. They are interested. It's kind of like going on the first date and not unloading all your emotional baggage or all their problems and talking about your exes or politics or whatever. You don't want to repulse someone when you're already on like your first date per se. They're already here. They know they want you. Something, whether it's the copy you've written or the expertise that you've had or the prior experience you bring to the table, something is clicking. Like I've been saying over and over again, you don't want to spoil away the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You want to show them the avenue to whatever you're doing. You want to show them that you have the higher value, that you have the tricks of the trade, that you know what you're talking about, that you have prior experience and you know what you're doing, but you don't want to spoil, you don't want to give away your secrets. You don't want to give away the A to Z plan. We talk about, like, not just in this community, but a lot of like entrepreneurial communities or just self-improvement in general, the phrase do the work. doing the work isn't necessarily enough. You need to fall in love with the work. You need to love what you do. You need to have that emotional drive and that hunger and passion ultimately about what you're doing.